Thank you, Sophie. Good evening, everyone. Amanda here with your Friday Points West. Coming up on a busy programme tonight. Tories celebrate where they've just been confirmed as the biggest party in Swindon.
It's all change in Swindon. Labour losing power, Reform getting well established on the council, but the Conservatives becoming the largest party.
We'll be live with the latest in Swindon and also in Gloucestershire. Also on the programme tonight, fixing the flyover. Repairs to crumbling concrete over the M32 could cost as much as £450 million. A catch-up chat with Steve Evans, who's Manager of the Month after a strong end to the season for Bristol Rovers.
I'm standing at the edge of the Arctic Circle.
And David Attenborough's 100th birthday. Friends, colleagues and celebs all pay tribute to their friend and hero.
I'm here in Stroud, and I just want you to listen to this. Happy birthday, I just wanted to
First tonight to the local elections. In the last 20 minutes, counting has finished in Swindon, where the Conservatives will lead the council, but there's no overall majority. Over in Cheltenham, the Lib Dems have kept control with ease. Now we've got Esme and Paul waiting to guide you through the very latest with their analysis. First, Paul, you spent the afternoon at the count and it's just finished.
It has indeed only just come to its conclusion with the final declaration. So let's just run you through those crucial numbers. There are going to be 23 Conservative councillors, 19 from Labour, 14 from Reform and 1 Liberal Democrat. It's got to be said, when they started counting the votes at 11 o'clock this morning, the party activists had clustered into this large room at the Steam Museum in Swindon. The expectation was that Reform were going to do very well indeed. Thought, quite possibly, that they would be the largest party. In the end, they didn't quite make it, even though they got a sizable group of councillors. Instead, the Conservatives came up and up, confounding their own expectations. One point worth mentioning is the Greens didn't really come through. They went into this election with 4 councillors. Admittedly, they were former Labour councillors that had defected to them. Labour took those seats back, but it was undoubtedly smiles on Conservative faces and on that of the man who masterminded their campaign, the former MP for North Swindon, Justin Tomlinson.
Just objectively, it's been very, very exciting. Lots of four-way battles, some very close results. And if you had offered us the chance of being potentially the largest group once it's all finished, we'd have snapped your hands off. So a very, very good, do I say day or night? It's been so long now, this count. Certainly better than we could have expected.
So in a town that traditionally seesaws between the Blues and the Reds, Labour are once again out of power in the council. And they can in many ways trace their downfall back to when Labour took power in Westminster 2 years ago. So a bit of disappointment, though relief that it wasn't worse, I would say, for the outgoing leader, Jim Robbins.
Really disappointing that we've lost some outstanding local councillors in Swindon, and we think we've got a really good story to tell from the time that we've been here. But I think those national moods have been playing out here in Swindon as they have done across the country. In some ways, I think the result in Swindon, we've maybe outperformed that Labour sort of national performance, but not quite enough to let us get to being the biggest party.
So what of the voters? They have split their loyalties as never before in Swindon. This is a flavour of what they told us outside polling stations yesterday.
I think on locals, I don't necessarily worry about the party, but the names of the people that I know that are doing good around the area.
I voted differently to what I normally do. Well, you're allowed to put 3 ticks, aren't you? I did 2. I certainly didn't do Conservative and Labour.
Could I ask you who you voted for?
Reform.
You did vote for Reform?
Yes, I did.
Go and tell me
because
about
of Nigel Farage.
Well, I want the area to be nice. I want it to be clean. I want the roads to be a lot better than they are. And I want to see more police out on the beat.
Not satisfied with the council at the moment. Do you mind me asking who you voted for?
I voted Conservative.
Have you voted for change?
I hope so.
And what of Cheltenham? Let's join our Gloucestershire political reporter, Esme Ashcroft.
Well, it was a good day for the Liberal Democrats in Cheltenham. They started with 18 councillors and they finished with 17, and they also won an all-important county council by-election too. Reform returned its first councillor, and the Greens also managed to hold on to their 2 seats. Now, both of those parties will be happy with that result, but I know they were after around 5 each, so perhaps a little bit of disappointment. Labour and the Conservatives started with 0 councillors, and that's how they finished the day too. Turnout was a healthy 44% in what could be the last ever Cheltenham Borough Council election, as Gloucestershire moves towards 1 or 2 super councils from 2028. So the picture is stable here in Cheltenham, and what's it like in Swindon, Paul?
So no doubt at all who's going to be running Cheltenham, but what about here in Swindon? Well, the Conservatives haven't got an overall majority. They've got to get cooperation from someone. Interesting, talking to their leader a matter of minutes ago, he indicated clearly to me he's probably not going to do much talking to Reform. He instead will go behind the scenes, have some chats with Labour, and then run Swindon as a minority administration. And that's particularly significant because this has been a big election. All the seats were up and all the councils will serve a 4-year term through until 2030. For the Conservatives, today has been quite a bright point in this town.
OK, Paul, thanks to you and Esme for keeping right across it all day. Great summary. Now, a man's appeared at Salisbury Magistrates Court charged with murder following the death of a newborn baby boy 4 years ago. Jamie Fulford, who's 26, was remanded in custody. The baby's mother, 22-year-old Sophie Edgerton, also appeared and was charged with causing or allowing the death or harm of a child. She was released on unconditional bail ahead of another hearing on the 5th of June. The estimated cost of repairing the crumbling concrete on the M32 flyover in Bristol could be as high as £450 million. Work on the busy route will take 6 years, beginning in 2029. The better news is they're promising to keep 2 lanes moving in both directions. Scott Ellis reports.
It's the main road into Bristol, carrying 85,000 vehicles a day. But look at the underbelly of the M32, and it's not a pretty sight.
As you can see, we've got some concrete falling off the bottom of the bridge deck here.
Water ingress has rusted iron girders, causing concrete to fall off, and metal bearings on top of each concrete pillar, which allow the road to expand in the heat, need replacing.
Some drivers might be a bit fed up, 6 years of work. What would you say to them?
If we don't do this work, the structure will continue to degrade. Eventually, in 5, 10, 15 years' time, we will lose the use of this structure.
National Highways reassure us there'll be 2 lanes open in each direction during the 6 years of repairs, most likely limited to 30 rather than the current 40 miles an hour. This group of sparring partners under the M32 gave us their thoughts as drivers.
If it's going on for 6 years, that's quite a long time.
People will always choose the shortest route, or sat-navs will take you the shorter route, so it can't be guaranteed that people will always choose this way if it's going to be disruptive.
If it needs to be dealt with, it needs to be corrected then.
Fingers crossed for 2029.
The M32 opened in the 1970s with great fanfare, but 50 plus years on, engineers have this verdict.
It was never intended for 85,000 vehicles a day, let alone 85,000 much larger, much heavier vehicles than what was a Morris Minor back in the day. We've now got SUVs and HGVs and so on.
The work will also see sound barriers being put up along the sides of the raised parts of the M32. Scott Ellis, BBC Points West, Eastville.
You're watching Points West. It's Friday. We're knocking at the door of the weekend. Thank you for starting the evening here with us. Stay till 7 and you can meet Nobby the sheep. He's the West Somerset Ram who landed a starring role, 2 in fact, in Hugh Jackman's new movie, The Sheep Detectives. First, though, 4 sisters are to inherit their father's estate after they successfully challenged a will he made while suffering from delusional beliefs. Michael Gwilliam, who was from the Forest of Dean, always said he wanted to die without a will. But when he passed away in 2022, his daughters discovered one made when he didn't have the mental capacity to do so. Here's our Gloucestershire reporter, Steve Nibbs.
Michael Gwilym always wanted to die intestate, without a will, and give everything to his daughters. But he developed late-onset schizophrenia and suffered from delusions that his daughters and neighbours were conspiring against him. In 2014, he wrote a will, leaving his 4 daughters a quarter of his estate, with the rest split between his sister, former partner and 3 nephews. But his daughters knew nothing about it until after he'd died.
We didn't expect, even in his ill state, to have made a will. So the shock that came to us, we just didn't know how it had happened.
It was alleged in court that Mr. Gwilym's sister and former partner had used false statements about his daughters to get him to write the will, but this wasn't proven. The judge ruled that although the statements weren't true, the defendants believed they were. But at the time, that had a huge impact as Michael started to have delusions about his daughters.
He'd absolutely love to see us. We'd go and visit and we'd all sit down at the table and have a lovely time. And all of a sudden, his face would change and he would, "You need to get out." He'd say, "You're not supposed to be here."
The defendants, which also include one of Michael's nephews, haven't replied to our request for comment. His will was prepared by a paralegal who told the court they considered that Michael had capacity, but a mental health nurse who was present at the time said he wasn't asked to assess Michael's capacity, something known as the golden rule.
Had that report have been prepared and a medical expert had examined Michael, it's unlikely that he would have been found to have capacity to prepare a will, and so the will wouldn't have been executed.
The paralegals company in the Forest of Dean haven't replied to our requests for comment, but Helen has called for more training for will writers.
Especially when they're going out to see older testators, they need to have an understanding of capacity a lot deeper than they have, and to understand mental health needs and the consequences.
Ultimately, the judge ruled that Michael's delusions were so fixed in his mind that he lacked capacity to write a will, so it was invalid. His daughters will now inherit his estate worth between £750,000 and £1 million, which includes his house in the Forest of Dean.
We were vindicated, and to get his testamentary, those wishes that he always had upheld was just the best thing for me. We've got Dad in the spotlight and we've highlighted what he wanted, his real wish.
Steve Nibbs, BBC Points West.
Next, I'm pretty sure you won't have missed this. Today is Sir David Attenborough's 100th birthday. For much of his career, he fronted iconic wildlife programmes with the BBC's Natural History Unit right here in Bristol. Liz Beacon has been speaking to 2 producers who've worked very closely with him on some of those landmark series.
Sir David Attenborough's association with Bristol's Natural History Unit dates back to the 1970s when he started Life on Earth.
His name was Charles Darwin, and he was enthralled almost to the point of ecstasy by the richness of life that he found here.
In the 90s, he created The Trials of Life alongside producer Mike Gunton, who he's worked with ever since.
Everybody always asks me, what's he like? Is he really like that behind the scenes? And perhaps disappointingly for some people, he is. He is the perfect gentleman, the perfect companion. He's funny, he's kind, entertaining. He is just like you would hope he would be.
Elizabeth White has worked with Sir David on landmark series such as Blue Planet and Planet Earth. She describes an Attenborough effect. If you're working on a programme and he's involved, it's likely to be a success.
David has got a remarkable legacy, but one of the perhaps the most relevant culturally recently has been the Blue Planet 2 effect. His talk about plastics in the oceans and everything that went with that series had an enormous impact, both here in the UK but also around the world. And it's remarkable how one person's message in one television series can make such a huge difference.
I'm standing at the edge of the Arctic Circle.
I was on location with him in Finland a few years ago, and he was, 96? And it was -3. We're all in the full gear and everything. And I said, we're saying, just take it easy. Next thing you find, he's out there with the sound recorders picking up the bags. And just said, no, stop. But that is him. He wants to be part of he loves to be part of the team.
The question is, can we curb climate change sufficiently to ensure that the seasons will continue?
At the age of 100, Sir David's on-air career has spanned 7 decades. His impact on the natural world will be undeniable and long-lasting. Liz Beacon, BBC Points West.
There really is no one quite like him. Happy birthday, Sir David. There's lots of lovely content in celebration of David and his work on the BBC News website if you fancy diving in, and plenty of other articles besides. Conversations continue about traffic around Stonehenge. Residents saying they want a new solution now the tunnel's been scrapped. The debate's been going for decades, and there's concern things have gone back to square one. There's a lot of talk about plans for a new fashion museum in Bath. This old post office building could house the huge collection that once lived in the assembly rooms. There'll be a vote next Wednesday. And they're bringing wartime memories to life in a new exhibition at Aerospace Bristol to mark VE Day, sharing what it was like to live locally through the Second World War. Find those stories and more on the BBC News website and the app. Next, Bristol Rovers' strong end to the season has been recognised with Steve Evans winning the Manager of the Month award. The Gas won 8 games in a row, 5 of them in April, and he's now promising to build a squad capable of promotion next season. He's been talking to our sports editor, Alistair Durden.
Rovers were the team that didn't want the season to end, finding their best form in over 70 years. But for Steve Evans, the hard work really starts now.
This is a football club we know should be sitting in the table alongside our neighbours in the city because of the size of the club. But of course we are on the pitch. My hope is that I can be trusted to put a team together that does challenge at the top end of League Two.
Do you think you're a big selling point for players?
Oh, for sure. I've got 9 promotions. There's only me and Neil Warnock in the country who's got 9. And he's semi-retired. He keeps coming back in. He'll probably come in and get one before me.
How busy is the summer going to be?
It's going to be busy. We're really close on 3 or 4. I think I inherited a top 3 or 4 budget. It's probably gone down a step because we made some tough decisions in January. We certainly have a top 7 budget. Myself and the staff have to be the difference. But I think if you said to everyone, who do they think will be there? A lot of managers will have the gas in their minds because we will be strong.
Good feet, Dean. Good feet. His own transformation has been just as impressive, losing more than 8 stone in the months before joining Rovers, thanks to a diet change and swimming and cycling every day.
How I feel about myself now to a year ago is black and white night and day. It's just incredible. I'm still doing 100 lens 5-6 times a week. I'm still doing my sauna and I'm still doing my biking, and I've been all the way down to Clevedon and all around those areas and around the villages. And sometimes been so tired I've had to phone Paul Rayner to come and get me in the car. I couldn't pedal another yard.
He also took a trip into the home end recently. But what about that holiday to the Maldives that he cancelled to take the Rovers job?
I think it's on the back burner because my wife tells me we can only go there out of football season because of the weather. We'll have a little break, but otherwise it's at the training ground and making sure we're ready to go.
A lot of managers before you have said Bristol Rovers should be in the Championship, but no one's managed to deliver it yet.
It's easy to talk, isn't it? We have the supporters. We have an incredible board. I need to do my bit. Our objective is to have a good season next season, one step at a time.
Alistair Durden, BBC Points West, Bristol.
He's doing his bit. Now, the football season may be over for us, but there's still plenty of rugby to come. Tonight, Gloucester take on Sale at Kingsholm. Then over the weekend, Bristol Bears hope to move into the top 4 when they face Saracens. And Bath head to Exeter. Now to a big event which promises to be a visual spectacle as well as an important moment of reflection. This Sunday at Gloucester Cathedral there'll be a service of thanksgiving entirely dedicated to service animals, current and retired. Dogs welcome alongside their handlers from the police, border force and the NHS. A short while ago, I had a sofa full to talk about it. Lady Bathurst, who set up the National Foundation for Retired Service Animals, plus PC Pete, Sergeant Joe and their 2 very gorgeous canine partners. I suggested it would be marvellous mayhem.
It is. So Gloucester Cathedral, so our beautiful Gloucester Cathedral, is opening its doors to us on Sunday afternoon this week. and we are going to be having a service which is going to be a service of Thanksgiving specifically for all of our wonderful service animals and for the National Foundation for Retired Service Animals, because we're a charity that takes care of these extraordinary dogs and horses when they retire.
Why was it so important that we held this event in honour of them?
Well, it's the first of its kind, so it's never been held in the UK before. So many people, Amanda, don't realise the extraordinary job that these wonderful dogs and horses do. They don't realise in how many areas they protect us, the public. We've got dogs and handlers coming from all over the country. It's going to be like Vicar of Dibley on steroids.
It's going to be such a spectacle, isn't it?
It is, and we're going to have this wonderful service to celebrate them on Sunday.
Let's talk to Sergeant Joe and Hera, who's sitting there impeccably behaved, as you would expect, and has just retired. What's that transition like between working service dog and retired?
So far it's been good for me, but it can be hard. Dogs don't generally take that. It's not that smooth for them because they're used to working 24/7, going out and being tasked to do things. So it's quite hard for them to switch off. But fortunately, this girl, she's quite sociable, and so far I'm managing it.
And over here we've got PC Pete and Belle, who is beautiful as well. You're still working together.
That's right, yeah, she's coming towards the end of her working life.
Yeah.
She's 9.5 now, but yeah, she's been an amazing dog.
How would you put into words that bond that exists between you?
That's exceptionally difficult. I mean, you work with them day in, day out. You're with them more than you're with your family. They would do anything for you, to protect the people that you work with. We've been in some pretty interesting situations where she's had to do that.
So pretty special that we honour them in the way that's happening this weekend.
100%. It's a terrific idea and a terrific. Good.
They're having a chat as well now, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
This event is happening on Sunday, isn't it, at 3 o'clock?
It is.
Anyone welcome, and thank you so much.
So everybody's
for telling us
welcome.
about it.
And I just want to say that Belle was National Police Dog Champion twice.
Wow.
And it's the National Police Dog Trials next week.
It's a treat to have two VIPs then
They
on
are.
the sofa tonight. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much.
How lovely, and rarely do we have quite so many bodies on this sofa. Our next story is about sheep. Animal Corner on Points West tonight. A ram from West Somerset has, would you believe it, landed a starring role in Hugh Jackman's brand new movie. In fact, Nobby played two characters called Ronnie and Reggie in the film called The Sheep Detectives, and he even got to hang out for a bit at Pinewood Studios. How glam. Here's Rhiannon Wynell.
It's about as far as you can get from Hollywood, but this farm in Somerset has produced a movie star, Nobby the Ram.
I want you to meet my flock.
In new film The Sheep Detectives, Nobby and friends investigate when their shepherd, played by Hugh Jackman, is murdered. Through the wonders of CGI, Nobby plays two parts, Ronnie and Reggie, in hot pursuit of a suspect.
I want to bash it so bad!
They're voiced by Ted Lasso star Brett Goldstein. But how did Nobby's journey to the big screen begin?
There's some pictures in of Nobby. I was in the pictures as well, so I was hoping to get some part in the movie, but I didn't get quite that far. And they said, yeah, banging, perfect. And they come and picked him up. I'm afraid not a limo, but a trailer. And then, yeah, they did some close-ups with the camera on his mouth. And I can show you in a second what they did with some food to get the talking parts.
A whodunit starring a flock of sheep wasn't exactly what the Greatest Showman star Hugh Jackman was expecting when he first read the film script. But appearing on BBC Newsround, he said he loved making the film.
I worked with CGI sheep, they're all CGI, so I got to work with puppeteers. So these puppets were in front of me. Humans were animating sheep through puppetry.
He's talking about you.
There is a sad twist to this tale. Nobby passed away last year, but his legacy continues, both on screen and off it. As a Norfolk Horn, which is a rare breed, it's hoped Nobby's appearance in the film will help promote them.
So anything like this, any advertisement is brilliant because, it gets a breed out there. They nearly went extinct twice in the 19th century, and they've been around since the Middle Ages. You've seen, the fall of Rome and, William the Conqueror, so it'd be a shame to lose them now, really. So I think one of the highlights here is they're a rare breed and we need to look after them.
From West Somerset to Hollywood, Nobby's legend will live forever. Rhiannon Wynell, BBC Points West.
Immortalised. Good old Nobby. Right, that's the animal section of the programme complete. Then time to move on to the weather bit, and Ian is standing by. Good evening.
Hello to you, Amanda. Hello, everybody. Well, most of you have had another dry day. So most of you, because even this morning, as this view from Barrow out towards Steepholm suggests, the skies were looking pretty threatening out in the distance there towards the mouth of the Severn. And indeed, it's up in some of those reaches where ultimately we saw some showers starting to form. This is the radar from late morning onwards, showing the extent of the, up to that point, dry weather. But you'll notice, much as expected, it was particularly into this area here where we saw a cluster of showers starting to form, and some of those have been drifting northwards now into parts of South Gloucester and Gloucestershire, one or two out far to the west of us. Ultimately, through the evening period, those showers will fade. Now, through tomorrow, we're somewhere in the squeeze between a weakening front coming in from the Midlands and stopping about here, and this front trying to slip up from the south and stopping about here. So I'm expecting that we will have a fighting chance of a good deal of dry weather through not only Saturday, but also Sunday. Sunday will be an overall much more breezy day, probably overall the sunnier of the two, but with temperatures taking a slide down the scale after a noticeably warm day tomorrow. And indeed, if we look at the air mass temperature, you can see that we're inheriting some noticeably cooler air as we close out the weekend, and more particularly as we head into next week. And that drop in temperatures will be quite noticeable actually through next week. But for the time being, a decent enough evening. Once you're free of the showers, it's going to take a little while for the last of those to clear northwards. Then you'll catch up with the rest of the region, which are enjoying a dry evening as things stand, and will stay that way through the course of overall a pretty quiet night, and a comparatively mild one as well. Temperatures about 6 to 8 Celsius. So tomorrow then, it's going to be a day of varying amounts of cloud around. It's worth noting that, but brighter or sunnier phases certainly for a fair number of you either side of that. And as I mentioned, we've got a front trying to come up from the south. The one up through the Midlands is likely to not impinge into parts of Gloucestershire, I don't think. Late into the day, into the evening, you might just get a sprinkling of some light showery rain trying to spread up from the south, but not all the forecast models have this at all. Many of them, most of them, have the region effectively entirely dry through the course of tomorrow. And as I said, it will inherently be a warm day as well. As you can see, those temperatures are a fair bit above average for the time of year, actually into the low 20s, could be higher in some places than you're seeing there. Will be that bit lower temperature-wise on Sunday, but not a bad day, not a bad weekend. There we go.
We can make the best of that, Ian. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you. And that's it from us for the minute. The BBC's Election 26 coverage continues now here on One. And then after Question Time, that special tribute to David Attenborough and his 100 years on planet Earth. Enjoy that. And I'll see you again at 10 o'clock. Bye-bye for now.